Boston's Luxury Properties training videos. If you are watching this, I have to guess you are a new agent and you are learning how to lease apartments. I'm excited for you. It's a great career. I'm looking forward to working with you along the way. If you can't tell, this is Jason Gell. This is your broker and owner. I am hoping that these videos are insightful and helpful in your training. We've created quite the library for you. We've already introduced you to. So there's quite a bit to learn. You learn at your own pace. And we're going to start today with this video on Introduction to Leasing. This is a process overview. There's a lot of beneficial information. We tried to keep it fairly simple as an introduction. Plenty of details to work into and learning really for life. I'm always learning and there's always more to know. So let's get started with the process overview. The simple goal with leasing an apartment is to convert a contact into a rented apartment. That is what we do when we're leasing apartments. Someone reaches us from email, phone call, social media, our website, whatever the lead source is, we turn that contact into a rented apartment, and obviously, that's how we get paid when we rent apartments. So why are rental agents needed? I like to consider this question because having a foundation of why you're relevant in the transaction will make sure you know why you're bringing value and allow you to convey that value to the customer. We have access to accurate information. There's a lot of information out there on all the different websites like Zillow and Trulia, Craigslist, whatever. There is plenty of information out there. Unfortunately, a lot of it is inaccurate, if not straight out false advertising or misrepresentations or properties that are listed as available but rented 2 months ago, old pricing, whatever the case is. We have accurate information, and that's really the key here. We understand the landlord's process and procedures. So what does that mean for the customer? Well, just because they see something available does not mean that they qualify for that apartment. We've talked about in the discrimination, and if you haven't watched that video yet and that webinar, make sure you do. There are a number of reasons why we cannot discriminate against people. However, there are plenty of reasons why we can. Some of those are, just as a recap, some of those are income, their job, do they have pets, their credit scores, just to name a few. So there's plenty of reasons why we can discriminate or not accept somebody. The landlord's processes and procedures are vital to getting someone through the transaction. We understand the market, what's coming, what else might be available. Just because this is what they've seen online or advertised somewhere doesn't mean it's the right property for them. Maybe they're looking for something in Back Bay, but they really should be looking in the Fenway or South End because that's the price point that's more reasonable for what they want. We know the market, we know what's coming, we know what is realistic and what isn't realistic. And of course, we're going to guide them through the process. So we're going to help them get through the transaction. I've seen a lot of situations where people try to work directly with the property management company, and the property management company doesn't get them through that transaction because they don't think about all the factors. In fact, early in my career, I often would know the process, the landlord's policies better than the landlord would, or the property manager for that landlord, so I could help them understand why the person may or may not meet their qualifying procedure. So that guide through the process, and we call that a counselor. We'll talk about that more when we talk about agency, but we are counselors, not facilitators. You can see we're bringing a lot more to the table than just a list of properties that are available. Anybody can do that. We call that a facilitator. We're doing more than opening the door. That's not why we're here. We're not here just to take a phone call, be told that they want to see something, not ask any questions, and just show it to them. We are here to help them through the process, provide market feedback, tell them what properties are realistic for them, given their situations, and access to accurate information. All right, agency and rentals. This is a very important concept. This is a legal requirement. You need to know how you represent the people you work with. Rental agents are facilitators at Boston's Luxury Properties. We do not represent the owner. We do not represent the tenant. We are facilitators. If you're not familiar with that verbiage, that is a legal term. You should review it from your licensing class. And you can also learn more about it in some of our other training offerings, especially the training manual and the policies manual. We discussed this in detail. But to summarize it, facilitators are transactional agents, meaning we're there to help them through the process, not represent their interests. we still owe them certain fiduciary obligations. So make sure you know what those are. Unlike in sales, there is no legal requirement for agency. That means we do not have to represent them as a buyer or a seller agent. In fact, as renters, it really doesn't make sense to use those terms. So that is why we represent them as facilitators. Most importantly, do not refer to your customers as clients. This is very important. If you use the word client with your customer, you can create what's called implied agency. That puts us in a different legal requirement with those customers. Even though we've told them they're customers, which we do through our introduction form, fee agreement as it's also known as, we could potentially create that client-agent relationship just by using the word client. So when you're talking to other agents about your customers, when you're emailing your customers, don't use the word client. There it is. Customer is the word, not client. Don't use client. I will remind you nicely many times as I hear you use the word client, but the word is customer. No, it sounds like a small issue. It's not when we're getting sued over it. We've never been sued over it. We don't want to be sued over it. All right. The keys to being a good agent. You need to know the properties and landlord procedures. Why we're bringing value to the table. We need to know what's available, and we need to know what different landlords will accept different scenarios. We want to know what the properties themselves look like. So you need to get out there and preview properties. As a new agent, this should be a part of your daily activity for the first couple of months until you really know what's out there. You can tell me what apartments look like, what different luxury buildings offer, what our exclusive properties look like at the very minimum. So preview properties, it's vital. 3-4 hours a week is a minimum. You need to know the landlord's policies. We talked about that as well. Not only how to get through the process, but who will get accepted and why they may or may not be acceptable. Again, this is going to help you so much when you're qualifying people and you're trying to identify which properties to show. It's going to save you a lot of time. This is something that will take a long time to develop, but the more you focus on it and the more you kind of are proactive and review landlord policies before you run out the door and show people, the quicker it'll come to you. And of course, make sure you're checking and updating the listings regularly. We get emails and faxes that come in. The faxes come as emails. Those are coming directly to you through your email for a reason. So you can keep up to speed and up to date with what's available. Don't just ignore those. Look at them, file them away, create a label in Gmail, and save those for reference. And make sure you know what's out there. Things are being updated, and you should be looking through You Got Listings and MLS if you have an MLS account regularly. Number one, being a good agent, qualify, right? You've got to work with qualified customers. The last thing you need to do is take time to go show somebody an apartment that you don't know whether or not they're realistic. Now, in our office, we have an inside sales agent who is qualifying customers for us for the leads that the office generates. By and large, you're getting leads from the office who are already qualified. You've got detailed notes about what they're looking for. She's trained in how to do this. She's more than happy to help you with this. Megan is fantastic at it. However, you need to be good at it as well, because qualifying doesn't start when you first talk to somebody. You need to constantly be asking questions and be a good listener. Don't just ask questions, but hear what they're saying and then make sure you understand what they're saying. Not only are we looking for ready and able customers, but we need to know what they want. We need to make sure their wants fall in line with their ability. Are they ready to work with, right? Are they looking now? Are they ready to make a decision now? Identify their motivations. Asking questions and being a good listener is going to help you figure this out. Why are they moving? How about why haven't they rented what they've already seen? Remember, the primary locations between real estate boils down to our price, location, and quality or style. You can have two of these. If you have a great price and a great location, the quality is not going to be great. If you have a great location and a great quality, then the price is probably going to be pretty high. You get to choose two of these. So figure out which of these two are the most important to that person and then help them. If they need a 2-bedroom and they can only afford $3,000, they probably should be looking somewhere other than Back Bay or the waterfront. Fenway may actually be reasonable, but the Back Bay, the waterfront, South End, those are going to be tough places to find a $3,000 2-bedroom. Think about the Fenway. Think about Brookline. Think about Brighton, Charlestown, Jamaica Plain. There are places where that would work, but not in the priciest neighborhoods. Listen to objections and find solutions. This is an ability issue. We talk more about qualifying it in the Ready, Able, and Willing video. So make sure you watch that so you really understand how to qualify people and what their motivations are. But also, you've got to learn how to help them with their objections and help them with their problems or their obstacles. If you can counsel someone into being an able customer, they'll find a lot of value with that. And that's going to be a great way to get a repeat or referral customer. Some simple examples of this: are their parents ready to co-sign for an apartment? New hires, meaning an employee for less than a year, people who are in school and graduate school don't have stable income, they're going to need co-signers. Getting a co-signer can make them an able customer. So finding those solutions, working with them to make them able. If they're already ready, you've got a viable customer. All right, some more keys to being a good agent. Be timely and efficient with everything you do. Do not procrastinate. This is how people lose transactions. I've heard people phrase this as be paranoid. If you get a lead, be paranoid. Someone else is going to call that person back and start working with them before you do. Respond within 10 minutes. Remember, if it's your lead, I'm telling you to respond within 10 minutes if you want the best chance of working with that person. I've heard statistics that 5 minutes or sooner is the minimum, meaning if you're not contacting them within 5 minutes, you've got a very good chance you're not working with that person because they've moved on to the next agent. They're talking to the next agent, and they are going to work with the next agent. Most people work with the first agent they talk to. If you're working with one of our leads that's already been qualified, you have 2 hours from the time you accept that lead in Prospect Converter. We will offer that lead. You will accept that lead. You have 2 hours to follow up and actually schedule the appointment. So we've already talked to them within 5 or 10 minutes. You have 2 hours to set up the appointment. Why? Because after more than 2 hours, good chance they got bored and talked to somebody else and set up an appointment with someone else, and we've lost them. Even though we spent the time to qualify them, get them ready, nurture them along the way. Timeliness matters. Schedule appointments on the first call. If it's our lead, if it's your lead, it doesn't matter. Schedule that appointment. You can cancel appointments. You don't have to know what you're going to show them. Tell them, I've got some great places to show you, and let's schedule a time. What works for you? Obviously make sure those times are reasonable. Don't schedule for 15 minutes from now because chances are you're not going to get those listings together. Unless, of course, you know exactly what you're going to show them off the top of your head. That'll come with some practice. You're going to show a vacant exclusive apartment, have them come in. We've got the keys, whatever it takes to get the deal done. But if it's a situation where you've got to research what to show, especially as a new agent, figure out what they're looking for, schedule the appointment on the first call. Don't forget to qualify first. Just because we want to rush to get the appointment scheduled doesn't mean we don't qualify them. We will help you figure out what to show. Come to your mentor, come to your lead manager, your office manager, whoever it is. Get some help. We are a very helpful office. That's the culture of our company. We're here to help you succeed. Come to us with a ready, able, and customer who has got an appointment scheduled, and we are going to help you figure out what to show and rent them. Don't forget to make the customer excited about what you're going to show them. This is real estate. This is where they're going to live. This is where they're going to be. This is where their lifestyle is going to come together. This is exciting for them. This is a big part of, for a lot of people, their identity. Where they live is important. We want to get them excited. Talk about what's around the apartments you're going to show them. If you know what you're going to show somebody, make sure that they know that it's close to a great restaurant or a bar or grocery stores or the train. What works that hits on their motivations that you've identified when you qualify them. I like to say the natural progression of a showing should be an application. If you're qualifying someone, they're ready and able, you've decided this is someone I want to schedule an appointment with. You've scheduled that appointment and they're excited to come to that appointment because they're excited about what you're going to show them. They're going to probably rent the apartment. This is why the experienced agents close 60 to 80% of the showings they go on because they know what they're going to show them. They get the people excited about it. And when they come, it's the natural progression of the showing, of seeing the places to apply for it. We'll talk about closing techniques in other videos, but at the very least, get them excited. Remember, this is a fun job at the end of the day. There's a lot of jobs that are very stale. This is a very dynamic job. We're out there, we're looking at apartments, right? We're looking at different neighborhoods. We're outside, we're walking around, we're driving. Get them excited about what we're doing. Present the applications as soon as you take them, right? You show them some places, they're excited, they want to apply for it. You took the application. Don't go home and think about it tomorrow. The apartment may be gone by then. You need to present those apps as soon as you take them. If it's an exclusive apartment, we expect those applications to be forwarded to the property management team as quickly as possible, right? You took it. Get us a deal ticket, put it in Jason's mailbox with the copy of the deposit, and forward those applications off, right? If it's a non-exclusive open listing, find out what the landlord's policies are for taking the apartment off the market and follow those and get it done immediately. If you've got another appointment coming in, tell them to wait 5 minutes while you get this apartment, these applications together. They'll understand. They'll appreciate it. They may look at you completely differently and expect better things from you and expect the process to go better because the last person just applied. So they're thinking, hey, this is someone who knows what they're doing. I think I'm going to find an apartment with this person. I'm probably going to apply with it. Those little actions actually subcommunicate success and make you appear like a better agent. So it's perfectly fine to tell a customer that you're meeting, hey, my last customer just decided they want to take it. I'm just making sure that their applications are getting processed. I'll be about 5 or 10 minutes late. See you shortly. They'll appreciate that. Finalize the paperwork and money quickly. That means get the leases signed. Once you get that application approved, make sure you're notifying that customer in writing. Get those leases signed, get the guarantor forms into the office. The original notary form needs to get mailed back to us. Make sure we've collected all the money. Get it done so you can move on to the next order of business and make sure this deal is secure and final. All right. So let's review the process. Okay. We're going to prospect or qualify for leads, right? We're going to show properties. Showing the properties is turning what the customer wants into what's available and fits their criteria. We're going to ask for the deal and get feedback on the properties shown. When you're showing properties, go through those properties, each one, say, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? If they've given you a list through the qualifying of what they're looking for, talk about what fits and what doesn't fit. If you've shown them what they're looking for, ask them for the deal. Say, hey, this hits it. These 5 things that you said you wanted. Are you ready to go do the applications? If they say they're not ready to apply, find out why. There's a chance you didn't qualify well enough and you missed something. That's okay while you're starting out. You're going to refine your skills and learn to do it better. But you've got to be asking along the way so you can learn and help push them through the process. We'll talk a little bit about personality styles. There's a large portion of this population that is it's actually close to 70% of the population is more focused on the interpersonal side than the process side of life. That means that they're more interested in talking and relating with people than they are about getting through the process. That's fine. But some of them need help moving through a process such as renting an apartment. We call them I and S personalities, influential and steady personalities. The procedural people, they'll be a little more apt to jump forward and say, we're ready to do something. The I's and S's need help. Watch the DISC video. This is a great time to kind of plug that. There's a DISC webinar that's great, interactive. You need to watch that and learn about DISC profiling and how that can help you in your business. All right, so they've decided they want the apartment. Like we said, we need to get them moving forward through the decision making and get them through the process. All right, help them overcome objections and obstacles. Okay, so the rental application. We're going to take the application. We're going to review the landlord's policies to make sure that we're following what they're looking for. Make sure we're using the correct application. We have our own application, the rental application. There's something called the RHA standard form application. Some owners have their own application, so you want to make sure you're using the correct application. You also want to make sure they meet the landlord's policies, right? Do they have a pet? Are pets allowed? Are they a law student? And are law students allowed? Believe it or not, some landlords don't accept law students. So make sure you're following up, double checking those policies. Make sure you receive a deposit. Do not present applications that do not have deposits behind them. The quickest way to lose credibility in this business is to tell someone you have a deal all the time, but never have a deposit. It is a policy in our company that all exclusives must have a deposit to be considered an application. Without a deposit, we won't even look at it. However, you may find in some cases, especially with MLS listings, that the agent who's listing the apartment on MLS in a co-broke says, oh, just forward me the application. Don't worry about the deposit. I say, that's fine for them. If we don't have a check, we're not presenting the application. We've had plenty of agents learn the hard way by getting halfway down a transaction, presenting applications, getting the applications accepted, but never taking that deposit just to find out that the people decide to take something else in the meantime. Get that deposit. You can hold it and wait until the application gets approved. If it's an open listing, a non-exclusive, you have to turn that deposit into the office. If it is an exclusive listing, a Signer listing, but you'll know you actually have a commitment from the customer to rent the apartment, right? You're going to present that application. Make sure you include any contingencies to the application when you present it. Contingencies might mean something like contingent to the apartment being painted, or the apartment being professionally cleaned, or a new stove, a new oven. Make sure you're presenting that as part of the application. A lot of times we hold back on that when new agents hold back on that information, or it comes to light from the customer after they've already been approved. We need to be doing that as part of the application, because contingencies can change the terms of the deals on the owner, and the owner might not agree to that work. Once they've been accepted, there's no requirement that that owner necessarily do any of that work. So you need to make sure they're expecting something to be done. We're asking for it as part of the application, not after the approval of the application. Once the application is accepted, you need to inform your customer in writing, okay? That means email. That does not mean a phone call. You may want to text them if you're out within a showing or something. You may just say, text them, hey, I got great news, you've been approved. But that text needs to be followed up with an email as well. Remember, we make our fee, or our fee becomes due once someone is accepted. Okay, it's not when they move in, it's not when they sign the lease. Our fee has been earned once they're accepted. Now, you still have a lot of work to do to finish that transaction before you can get paid on it, but it's been earned, meaning it's payable by the customer once they're accepted. So make sure you notify them in writing as soon as you hear from the property manager or owner. Don't wait. People can back out before they've been told that they've been accepted. All right. We also need to make sure we get those supporting documents and the lease signed. We need to verify references, call previous landlords, get pay stubs, transcripts from school, make sure the money's received from the tenant and paid to the landlord. That's part of our job. Make sure the leases get signed, right, and transferred over to the owners. Make sure we're making backups of everything digitally encrypted. Make sure you watch the WISP video on this, but everything should be digital and encrypted, password protected, securely stored. Paper copies should all be either go to the landlord or given back to the office for safe storage. You've got to prepare for the move-in. You need to know what the move-in procedures are. It's great to do that when you're first working with the owner. Ask how the move-in process works. Make sure that you can give your tenants a little notice about that. Yeah, and surprisingly, there's a few other things that you really want to be part of. First of all, make sure the old tenants are out. We like to, especially with our exclusive properties, once we rent the apartment, we like to give notice to the current tenant that we've rented the apartment. Why is that? Because we've actually had situations where people just decided they weren't going to move out and tried to use the excuse, well, no one told me it was rented. Unfortunately, based on Massachusetts law, trying to fight that situation and get those old tenants out so the new tenants can move in is a losing battle. It's a time-consuming battle. It's a battle most owners don't want to work on, and it is a reason why we would have to refund our fee, meaning we would owe that money back to the tenant, and we would not get a fee because the owner wasn't able to deliver the property they were accepted for. Okay, so you need to make sure that tenants know that they're out. By the way, this is a great way to get another customer. You know they're moving out. Hey, I know you're moving out. I rented your apartment. Are you looking for a place? Have you found a place yet? Great place to prospect for customers for the next transaction. Make sure that the keys are on file, that you have the move-in keys. Check them, test them a day or two, or at least a day or two before the move-in date. Do the keys work? And if they don't work, it gives you a chance to go get working keys. While you're testing those keys, make sure the property's in good condition. Or is there any damage that needs to be fixed? If there is any damage that needs to be done, alert the owner. If you find a problem, let the tenant know you've done so. Again, building value for the customer. They know that not only did you rent them and you were thorough and you followed through on the transaction, you got all the paperwork together and you helped them find a place, you were great. You also stuck around right before the move-in and said, hey, I found a few issues. I notified the owner. He's coming in there to fix those problems. So I just want to give you a heads up. So when you get there, you're not upset. You're not concerned that issues aren't being resolved. We like adding value. All right. So the last thing you do once the tenant, everything else is done, is billing out. You can take a draw, okay, but billing out means that everything is done, the money's received, all the paperwork is processed correctly. Within the office, that means review the customer contact record in Prospect Converter and update it. Remember, accuracy matters, not meters. See the difference? spelling mistake in their email address, it's going to really mess up our ability to contact with them. If the phone number is not entered correctly, if the mailing address isn't entered correctly, these could be problems with trying to maintain those relationships with the customer. Okay, enter transactions into Prospect Converter. We have a video on how to do all of these things, so make sure you're following up with those. But you need to enter that transaction into Prospect Converter, and then you need to back up all the paperwork. We have those digital PDFs that we've created along the way. Password protected PDFs need to get backed up into Prospect Converter, which is secure storage, online storage. All printed paperwork to the office. You shouldn't have any printed paperwork. You don't need any printed paperwork. If you want to catalog some of the information that you've collected along the way, that's fine, except don't keep anything with personal information really doesn't need to be accessible to you. All you really need to know is what apartment you rented them, what their name and phone number and email address are, and maybe how they contacted you. But you really don't want the liability of keeping all that documentation. That's what we do. That's what we're bonded for. That's what we're insured for, is to maintain records, among other things. Make sure everything is in order. Make sure that you've completed the process and you've gone through your responsibilities, and then you can get paid. Like we said, if it's before move-in, you can take a draw. Draw is 75%. As long as all these processes have been followed, you should be fine. There's a video on billing out, so you can watch that when you're ready to bill out. We can help you through the process the first few times, so make sure you're doing it right. That's what we're here for, getting paid. We have successfully turned that transaction that contact into money. All right, after they've moved in, don't forget, we need more customers. This is where you start to work to build your next transaction, that follow-up with the customer. We want to ask for reviews. Don't be afraid to ask for reviews. If you've done a good job for someone, you should expect them to give you a review. We actually have built it into our business. Our paperwork starts, our rental intro form, our rental fee disclosure starts off saying we're asking you for a review when we've done a good job for you. We have a form that reminds them that we're asking for a review. Our inside sales manager, after you finish the deal, is going to send them an email asking for a review. You should be asking for a review. Ask for reviews. Reviews are vital to your business. You need those online reviews so people know you're a good agent. Rentals is a great way to build those online reviews because you're dealing with a much larger group of customers than a typical buyer or seller agent. So make sure you're building your reviews now, so when you become a rental or a sales agent representing buyers or sellers, you've got those reviews to back up how professional and qualified you are to help them. Ask for referrals. Okay, referrals are a reward for doing a good job, just as vital as reviews. You will find, and by the way, we talked about those INS personalities that maybe need help being moved through a process. Well, guess what they're great at is talking about you. Okay, if you've done a good job, they're a great source of referral. So you do a great job for those INS personalities, ask for that review, and they're bound to help you out. D personalities, by the way, can be great for reviews. You'll learn about D personalities in the DISC webinar. Stay in touch. Prospect Converter has follow-up plans that you're going to assign to that customer. We're going to help you with that process. We built it into our business model to try and keep you relevant and keep the company relevant to that customer. You also need to make sure your social media profile and social media management is really strong. Social media is a great way to maintain those relationships with the customer along the way after the transaction so that you stay relevant to them. There's a whole bunch of training on social media that we've delivered to you. We have a social media manager who does weekly workshops with our agents. Go to those. Make sure you're utilizing social media. It's so important for those reviews. It's so important for those referrals. And it's so important for those repeat customers. If you're doing a great job with these 3 marketing strategies, reviews, referrals, and follow up with your current customers targeted towards repeat and referral business, it makes your job a lot more fun. Instead of reinventing yourself and putting new ads up and working with new leads that you've never worked with before and don't know who you are, and you have to establish your credibility every time, you'll be working with people who have the assumption you're a good agent and are going to want to close and rent or buy or sell from you. So this is where your money is made, right? Customer satisfaction builds loyalty. So whatever you're doing, make sure you're doing it towards customer satisfaction. All right, so that's it. That is our overview of rentals. There's a lot to learn still. There's a detailed training manual on rentals that I'd ask you to read through. Now that you've watched this basic overview, you're going to learn a lot along the way as you start to take customers out and you start to show them apartments and help them through the process of renting the apartment. But you will learn and you will get through it and you will make a lot of money doing it as long as you stick with it and you approach it from the mindset and the policies that we've put in front of you for your success. Look forward to working with you, and I hope you find the rest of these videos helpful and informational, and wish you all the success. See you around the office.